Hey Motorman, here I'm at Gator Harley-Davidson, and I'm going to take this 2020 Harley-Davidson Deluxe, Softail Deluxe, for a ride. The main reason I want to take this bike for a ride, and you should know, in case you don't, Harley is saying this is the last year for this model. There will not be a 2021 Deluxe. If you're after the classical American look of a cruiser, this might be your last chance to get one. Wide white wall tires, spoke wheels. This is pure Americana. This particular bike has a windshield on it that is extra. These normally don't come with a windshield or crash bars. As you see here, it's got the Harley mustache bars on it. That is extra. I believe a rear pillion is extra as well. But if you're, and I love this look personally, this is pure nostalgia. If you're after the nostalgic Harley-Davidson, I mean, you could put this next to a 1945 model, and if you didn't know anything about the motorcycles, you would think this was a bike out of the 40s, because it looks like classic Harley-Davidson motorcycle with, of course, modern motor, suspension, running gear, no oil leaks, none of the drawbacks of a classic motorcycle, and all the benefits. First thing I notice on this motorcycle is it's extremely low. Now they've changed the Softail models in 2018, changed the frame, because it used to be these bikes were so low that they had a very poor lean angle. That's not the case anymore with the redesign. The motorcycles have a pretty decent lean angle. I think it's like 28 degrees versus 24 degrees on years past. And believe me, that makes quite a difference. Especially if you like to ride the twisties and get a little aggressive. You've got speedometer, odometer, A and B trip odometers, etc. right here in front of you. With this full face helmet on, and I've got a camera mounted right here on my chin. It kind of blocks my lower vision a little bit, but I can see it clear enough, the speedometer. Now, I just came off of riding a road glide touring model, so there's a definite difference in feel, in that some vibration does get through to the grips. I mean, it's not excessive or anything, it's just not quite as smooth as the touring models. This has the 107 motor, but since this bike weighs probably 350 pounds less than the touring models, I would venture to say you've got just as much power and torque on the Softail models as you do on the touring bikes. Remember, if you want to go fast, add some lightness. These also have a cable clutch. It's not hydraulic. And I kind of like that because you can adjust the clutch to grab any place you want it to. Within reason, of course. Let it grab too close in and you'll find yourself with the clutch pulled all the way in. The bike will creep. You don't want that. But yeah, the cable clutches are adjustable. Hydraulic clutches are not. In fact, on my touring bikes, I have a soft brake clutch lever, softbrake.com. That is the company that takes the stock Harley clutch lever, heats it up, bends it in very slightly, and in fact, if you look at it compared to the stock one, you can't even tell the difference. But believe me, it makes a tremendous difference in the clutch feel, because it allows it to grab really in the perfect spot. Normally Harley hydraulic clutches grab all the way out at the end of travel, but with the soft brake clutch lever, it grabs at the perfect spot. I love them, highly recommend them, and they're so inexpensive it's not even funny. But getting back to this motorcycle, these are geared towards a smaller rider, shorter in stature. That means a low seat height. Handlebars come back nicely to meet the rider. And there is enough lean angle ground clearance. I mean, come on, it's not a sport bike, it's a cruiser. They're not going to lean like a sport bike or a sport tourer. Can't lean as far, but of course the techniques are the same. I thought I'd get some scraping there on the older models. Pre-2018, I would have heard quite a bit of floorboard scraping, but as I said, the new softail models is more than adequate. Ride is very good. I'm having no discomfort, even on some of the bumps around here. Yeah, this bike definitely does not need the 114 motor, but if you wanted the 114, you can move up to the Heritage, and there you have a choice of the 107 or the 114. It's pretty much the same motorcycle as the Deluxe, minus the white wall tires and a few other things that this bike has. But if you're into the classic Harley-Davidson look, the nostalgic look of what people consider to be the stereotypical American motorcycle, this is it right here. And when they say they're going to cancel this model, I'm betting they're going to come back with a different variation of it, maybe a different name, but they should never get rid of this classic Harley-Davidson nostalgic look. It's just beautiful from every angle. I've got a Lowrider S model, and there is even though they're both softail models, this is just a totally different feel. So yeah, Harley does get a lot of mileage out of their different change in accessories and some slight variations on the softail models, but each one has its own feel to it. This doesn't feel anything like my Lowrider S. And the riding position is upright. Don't have to stretch forward to reach the handlebars. These are pretty wide bars. Gives you plenty of leverage. I know there's some sand on this curve. There it is. It's always there. I guess every time it rains, it washes that sand down from that little mound. Handles beautifully for a cruiser, of course. Excellent sounding exhaust also on any of the Harleys with the M8 motor. As I said, they've since they quieted the motor down, they were able to bring the volume of the exhaust up a little bit. In other words, it sounds throatier. The stock exhaust sounds throatier than in years past. Now, I went over these same bumps on a Road Glide, and I think this bike rides a little softer than the Road Glide. at least the Road Glide with the shorter rear shocks, the slammed look they call it. And I wouldn't hesitate for a moment throwing on some saddlebags on this motorcycle and doing some serious touring. It's that comfortable. And that also could be because this has the 16-inch wheels, which means that the tire has a wider or thicker sidewall, and that tends to give you a softer ride. The steering might not be quite as direct as a low-profile tire, but it does give a nice soft ride, plush ride even. As I said, you get slightly more, on the Softail model, slightly more vibration coming through to the hand grips, but it's nothing objectionable. It's just that V-twin feel. And by the way, yes, for the YouTube Motorcycle Safety Police, I'm not wearing gloves. I'm going to tell you why. In addition, it makes it much easier to press the buttons on the camera. But I forgot to bring my gloves with me. Drove my car up here. And after driving 65 miles, I wasn't about to not do the road test just because I didn't have gloves on. So yes, I'm risking my life and limb by not wearing gloves and riding a motorcycle, at least if that's what you think. And what's more, if I had gloves on, I'd have some YouTube expert saying, yeah, but you're not wearing the Schmedlap gloves. The Schmedlap, I don't listen to anybody unless they wear Schmedlap gloves because they're the best. You know, that nonsense. You name the brand glove that the so-called YouTube experts like. But yes, I'm riding gloveless, no problem. Nothing horrible is going to befall me. These bikes, the Softail models, feel like they're, though they have the same 6-speed transmission as the touring bikes, it feels like it's a little bit wider range gearbox. In other words, the touring bikes are a closer ratio gearbox than the Softails. I believe I looked that up once on Harley's website, and it is a slight difference. You wouldn't even think the difference is so slight you wouldn't think you'd notice it, but I have noticed it, especially on my Lowrider S as compared to my Road King or my Electric Glide. And as I said, right now, this is your last chance to get a Deluxe, because they won't be making it in 2021. Now, of course, they might bring it back or another variation. But if you're looking for a Deluxe, this is the time to get one if you want to buy one new. Now with this windshield on here, I do feel some wind coming up from underneath, very similar to what I get on the Road King. But of course, because it's 95 degrees out right now, it feels really good. There are lowers, front lowers that go onto the forks that you can purchase that prevent most of that. Or Baker-built wings, if you've seen those, I've got them on my Road King. They do a great job of limiting that wind that comes up from underneath. So if you like these road tests and you like enjoy my reviews, I hope you give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and don't forget to click that little bell so that you'll be notified whenever I come out with a new video. I do at least 2 videos a week, sometimes more. And before we end this, I'm going to make some low-speed maneuvers on the bike, just to show you that this bike is very maneuverable. Takes a bit to get it on the floorboards, so that extra lean limit that they gave you on the newer Softails really helps, comes in handy.